Hey guys, real laid back one here today. Oh, welcome back to the Rock Show with Connor Farrell. Just gonna give you some updates. Look at that calculator. Look at that calculator, man. Woo! Okay, so we're doing a short one today. But what we're talking about is just kind of giving you an update on what's up. Okay, what's up? Look at this. Whoa! Yeah, so we're looking at, basically I'm gonna reach out some feelers and see if I can maybe get a co-host. Working on lining that up, getting a Discord server set up for the 701st. Working on a intro for the podcast that breaks down 5x5, Rocks Alive in the 701st Regiment, the 701 rock stars that we are going to work together and turn all of us into rock stars. So, if that sounds interesting to you, if you want any part of that, you want to be the next big rock star, join us, because we're all going to be. And with all of us playing together and working together, we will be unstoppable. Woo! We will be the unstoppable force, the immovable object. You cannot stop us, people. You cannot stop what's happening here. What's happening? Woo! Feeling like a chicken, feeling like a turkey, feeling about to fly away, beautiful people. But that's, what we're doing. We're flying. We're flickety, flickety, flowing. That's what we're doing. We're going. So, yeah, looking at getting a little bit of a co-host kind of thing going on. And then getting that intro, getting the Discord. And then, what's after that? I don't know what's after that. Maybe we don't even do the intro. Maybe I just start every show by going boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Because then every time I read it, it's fresh. It's fun. It's fresh. I'm messing around. It's fresh and fun. Anyways, we're doing that. So, we're showing that the rock can be done. But by the time we break through and the rock show is popping off and we're getting big guests and things, well, so is the rest of the 701st. The other 701, the instant we get big guests on the rock show, we're going to be able to send those guests over to everyone else's podcast. Boom, boom, boom. Get some TikTok clips going. We'll be sharing stuff like, I was doing this kind of TikTok. It worked. It got me this many views. You try this. Okay, here's a variation you can try. We're just working together. It's a community of people to try and be rock stars. Is it going to cost you money? Is someone trying to sell you a course? Or, hey, you want to be in my elite group of people? Pay all this money. It's like, no. This is free. You want to, you want to work with people? We want to work with people. You want to be a rock star? We want to be rock stars. Come on, you want to share rock music and give artists a platform? You want to be the new MTV, the new college radio? You want to be the place that's breaking artists and people are coming and you're able to like put these people on the map and like just have an awesome community of rock and roll and music around you? Okay, then join. It's free. We're not charging you any money. We're not charging you any money. The whole point is that you're able to make money and the bands are able to make money and we're all able to make money. Here's the thing is we don't need these labels anymore and they don't want us. But we don't need them. We can make all the money ourselves. And when I say all the money, I mean, if you're talking about like having a good living, being able to do music and do music journalism full time, you can. Spoiler alert, you can. All you got to do is hop on the mic, okay? You got to blow your show up, but that's pretty easy to do when you're working with 700 people who are all working on how to blow up their show and give you the tips so you can do whatever works for them and they can do whatever works for you. And so then we're all huge. And then we're growing. And the rock is everywhere. It's getting everywhere. It's back. Look at that. And it's going to be you. It's going to be you. It's going to be you. Boom, boom, boom. Pow. That's the power of it, people. See, that's what's happening. We're bringing rock back. So if you want any part of it, come and join us. If you want to be a rock star, you want to be a journalist, you want to make a full-time living doing it, either way. You'll make more money than being a doctor, more money than being an engineer. Okay, with 700 listeners an episode, you do an hour each day. Call it $50 per minute of advertising per 1,000 people that watch. That's 30, let's do the math on this. $50 times 1,000. Okay, $35 a minute if you have 700 people watching. Okay. And you can do, if you do 48 minutes of podcast, about 50 minutes, let's round up, you can do 12 minutes of ads. And so if you make $35 a minute per ad, okay, well, you have 12 minutes. That's $420 an episode. It's for every 50 minutes of broadcasting you do, you make $420. And that's with 700 people. Okay, well, let's just say it's 700 people, right? You're making $420 a day. $420 a day. You just broadcast for 50 minutes. That's not a lot, people. You get one friend who likes talking about music with you to come over and talk on a Saturday, to talk on another day. You guys talk for like 3 hours, chop it up. That's 3 days worth. The other days we talk another 3 hours. Boom. Now you've got a podcast 365 days a year, 15 minutes. Oh, wait, what did we say? 700 listeners. That's $420 an episode. $420 an episode. Let me do something real quick. Let's see. Let's divide that by 7. Okay, so $60 a day for every 100 listeners, right? Okay, well, $60 a day for every 100 listeners if you're doing an hour, if you're doing 50 minutes, right? Okay, well, let's say you do 365 days a year. Oh, that's $22,000 a year per 100 listeners. Well, let's say you have 700 listeners. Oh, $153,000. 700 listeners. How much work are you doing? You're doing 50 minutes of talking each day about music. Don't you like music already? Or you are a musician? Oh, wait, you already probably talked to someone about music for like an hour each day, or at least 7 hours over the course of a week. If that sounds like you, why don't you make money doing it? Why don't you join the new Rock Dynasty? Why don't you join the group of people who are working on this? Okay, why don't you join the 701st? Okay, why don't you pioneer? Why don't you put these bands on the map? Why don't you build a community of rock and bring back the culture, people? Why don't you do that? There's 166 million Americans just in America who like rock music. It's their favorite genre. It's the main thing they listen to, and there's no new people talking about it or making it. So all you got to get is 700 listeners in your podcast and do it an hour a day to make $150,000 a year. So what happens? Let's just get crazy here. I say, what if you had 100? Let's look at the calculator. Okay, people, let's go 100. Or no, let's go 1,000 listeners. What did I say? Wait a minute. You might be thinking, well, wait a minute. Okay, let's say you have 1,000 listeners a day. $219,000 a year. 1,000 listeners a day. But wait a minute, Connor. You told me 166 million people in just the U.S. are dying for more rock and roll. Oh. Think about that. There's 166 million people who don't need to be convinced to like rock, who already like it. Right? So how hard do you think if you work on it every single day with a community of almost 1,000 people themselves? Hint, that might be the first 700 people who listen to your show every day for a month, and then they send it to 5 of their friends every day for a month. So now you've got 3,500 people who are exposed to your show within the first month of you doing it. That's just by joining. Starting to realize what can happen there? Oh, real quick, you've already got your 1,000. You might have double that. So then you're making 400,000 a year. Oh, look at that. Look at that. 2,000 listeners on your podcast a day, only going for an hour each day. People who work radio, they hop on. They talk on satellite, on FM, on AM. Talk radio people. They talk for hours a day. Don't you already talk to people about music? About rock? No one really cares. And everyone's like, oh yeah, but there's not really any energy in rock. Well, what do you got? You got a video Limp Bizkit from 20 years ago, and you got a lot of these weird metal subgenres that you probably don't like. That's probably the only other thing that's knocking around, rocking around. You know, it's bopping with the kids. Kids bop. Kids. Baby bottle pop. Baby bottle pop. Amazing grace. I don't know what's happening, people, but it's happening. You want it to happen? You want it to happen? Well, it is happening. So, it's happening. Look at this. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. Oh my God, look at us. I got a dog on the floor. I was just doing math for a while. You guys wanna hear about that? I was doing a lot of physics problems that and I did a lot of smacking my pencil along the parchment. Anyways, yeah, you get 700 listeners, you can make $150K a year just doing an hour of broadcasting a day. Realistically, you could do once a week. You could get, let's say, Saturdays or Sundays. You and a friend who love rock go on and you just literally sit there and record on your iPhones using Riverside FM, which I think Riverside's either like $5 a month or $0 a month if you only have one guest, and it cleans up your audio. You don't need video editing software; it's built in. You just need a hard drive to download the video onto, and then I haven't found it yet, but there's got to be apps or websites for like $5 a month that let you upload your video and then uploads it to everywhere. And so here's the thing too, it's how hard is it to get 700 people? If you post it on Facebook, you post it the long form on Instagram, you post it on X, you post it on Threads, you post it on YouTube, you post it on Spotify, you post it on Apple Podcasts, you post it on Amazon Podcasts, you post it everywhere. If you get something set up like that, so all you do, think about it, because let's say this is your full-time gig. You sit down for 3.5, let's call it 4 hours, twice a week. Twice a week, you sit down for 4 hours with a friend and or guests. Twice a week. You only work 2 days a week, and you sit down for 4 hours, and you talk about rock music, and half the time, you have bands that you're getting to show off and introduce to people and catch up with them. And from only 700 people listening to your show, you're making $150,000 a year. From 1,000 people listening to your show, you're making $200,000 a year. Now you might think it's hard to get those 1,000 people or those 700 people unless you join a community of 700 people who the instant someone makes a podcast, they send it to their friends and they do this. And you might say, well, it might not happen for all 700. You're like, yeah, but it's enough to kickstart you. Even if you got 100 people out of the 700, and each week we pick 7 podcasts from the 700. And so over the course of 2 years, you're doing stuff. But even if you don't go right away, here's the thing too, is even if the 700, aren't able to watch all 700, because here's the thing, if you said, I gotta watch 700 podcasts every day, oh my God, that's a lot. I can't send it to everyone. Here's the thing. You have a group of people who are going to help send you guests and people. That's the real thing. And whatever TikTok goes viral and gets people to watch your podcast, whatever intro, outro, whatever scheme, whatever different things, you get to see the different people. And even if let's say we're going, week by week, blowing up podcasts and everyone's thing, sending them big guests and everyone watching it and sharing it and sending clips to their friends and posting it on their story. All it takes is a couple of the people who see those things being shared to go, I like that person. And here's the thing, even if you're not the person getting shared and the person getting blown up for that week or that 2 weeks or that month or however long we do it for, right? We'll figure it out. Don't worry. It's between us. Okay? If any of those other podcasts are there and they're looking for time to kill, they're looking for guests to have on, all the people you're working with will have you on. And you ask them to come on their podcast because they're looking for guests. Now, are they looking for people with audiences bigger than them to help build them up? Yeah, but only 5 out of the 7 days a week. Because that's the plan with the rock show, right? Is to spend 5 days a week, especially when we're still like really getting to like growing. Once it's like 1 million listeners an episode or 100,000, then we can have relatively unknown people on like 5 days out of the week, right? And just blowing up people, blowing them up. And if anything, we'll bring them on with someone super famous who's a rock star and like get them to like work together and see if they want to tour and write music together. But starting out, even though we want to do like 5 days starting out with like people with existing podcasts, existing audiences, probably going to be like comedians, fitness people, whoever's already got something going on. It's like, wait a minute. Those other 2 days, we're going to take people from 700 and put them on the podcast and expose them to the audience and try and set them up with guests. See, the thing is like, as much as a formal structure as I'm going to make to this, the beauty is bringing everyone together in one place to talk, committed to a mission of growing rock podcast, of growing a network of people working together and sending guests. We're all focused on one goal, okay? And it gets easier when you come together. It gets much easier when you've got 700 people who are all working on the same thing. If you need to take a day to like relax or go look at some stuff, there's 699 other people who are trying new things, just having fun. They're just having fun. They're having fun. They're podcasts. They're making TikToks. They're trying things. They're just having fun. And there's hundreds of experiments every single day going on that are figuring out how to help you. And the insights from these hundreds of experiences, as the algorithm updates us, what people respond to on social media upgrades, as all of these things update. And there's a new meta strategy. There's a new way to do it, the right way, the new way that, well, it just works. Gosh darn it, it just works. There's a new thing being figured out. And every day, you've got people working on it, figuring out, and what are they doing? Sharing it with you. So you can do it too. Think about these things. Think about it, people. It's like, seriously, think about it. Are you British? Are you British? I hope you're not. No, I'm just kidding. I like British people. I'll probably... Scottish last name, Farrell, Connor O'Farrell. Ooh, Connor Farrell. It's Connor Olin Farrell. Sometimes abbreviated to C. Olin Farrell, because then it's Colin Farrell. Ooh, not related to Perry Farrell. Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction. His last name actually originally isn't Farrell. That's a stage name. Will Farrell. I don't know, probably. But all this is to say, I got to get my Scottish passport. Because my relatives are from Scotland. Ooh. And I like British people. And I like Britain. And I like Ireland. So British people, if I make fun of you, it's because I am part of you. Well, you are part of me. I don't know how this works. But British people, we are one and the same. Quirked up white boys, picking up guitars, being a little zany, also being a little funky fresh with it. Trying to be hip. Listen to some Jamaican beats, being like, wait a minute, I need to ska. I need to start doing that because that's cool. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, woo! Here we go. Don't you like it? We're on the journey of a lifetime. It's crazy. I get goosebumps every time I do this. Here's the thing. You know, I sit down a lot of the times. I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe I'm not going to be in the zone today. Maybe I'm not going to be in the zone. Maybe I'm not going to like it. Here's the thing. It's because I want a friend of me. That's the thing is and you're going to see this. It's going to happen. This is why I got to say it because it's going to manifest. It's going to be beautiful. I'm going to find some friends who love talking about music and who are just fun to talk about rock and roll with. And then every day when I hop on the podcast, it's going to be the best time of day. Because that's the thing is, it is if it's deep, if it's serious, if it's zany and it's totally wicked, or if it's just me going like, I liked Witchfinder General, this album was cool, I really like it, but I don't like the vocal delivery, and I don't like the mix, like the master, like something's wrong there. I don't know what's wrong there, but like something. Yeah. Guys, this podcast is not brought to you by Coke Zero. Not. I swear it's not. I swear. So let's talk about the military occupation of just kidding, no politics. Even though I'm the best at politics, I have the right opinion on everything all the time. Oh my god, I'm so virtuous. I know everything, and I need to show you that I know everything, and I need to be divisive about things that everyone else is divisive about. It's like, no, 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 no. Though I have all the right opinions all the time on every single political, social, and economic issue possibly conceivable by a human or artificial general or super intelligence that may be brought into being, even though that may be the case, and I am the most accurate, correct, and morally virtuous person in existence because I'm the definition of virtue, of course, duh. I'm posting on social media and I'm an entertainer, so I have to be the most virtuous person alive, and you must look to me for all of your views and things. Now, I can introduce you to different philosophies of ethics and political things and blah, 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 and I am right about everything all the time, even though my positions on things tend to change in interesting ways. I'll put it this way. I'm not vacillating on fundamental principles, but you do learn more and you get nuanced and you have more understanding as time goes on. And so even though I may evolve my opinions from time to time, I'm always right all the time, even though that's a contradiction. Because then me in the future and me in the past, one of us had to be wrong. But no, you might be thinking that, but that's because your puny brain can't understand the fact that whatever I believe is the definition of correct. Everything is in context to that. And so when what I believe changes, the definition within that moment changes. And so at any given moment, I am virtue. Anyways, though I am right about everything all the time, of course I am. It's the definition of being correct is whatever I believe. Or whatever impulse I have. That's the definition of morality. See, why do they need Bibles? They could just look at whatever I feel in the moment because I'm always right. Okay, I'm joking. Okay, that was... I went a bit long on that. But see, though I may be informed about tons of various different topics, and here's the thing is, I'm going to make the best case for... So here's the whole point. I want to keep things as non-political as possible, as like, what do you think about, I don't know, monetary policy? What do you think about immigration? What do you think about... Because everyone else will tell you what to think about that. I'm not really about dividing people. I know people might be put off by me and not like me. That's okay. Because they're going to like other people in the 701st. I'm not here to please everyone, but I'm also not here to offend everyone. It's not my guiding force. My guiding force is to bring together all of the rocking people who want to birth the new age of rock. I'm looking for the pilgrims who want to go on the Mayflower. Boom! I'm looking for the people who want to get rich doing rock and roll music. Because even if they're an American Psycho style sociopath and all they care about is money and status, which there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with that. But let's say strongest critique is, well, you got to be in it for the music, man. Here's the thing. Even if there's someone who's not in it for the music, who joins the 701st, but they work their booty off because they know it's a way for them to be successful in terms of status from other people and in society. And people, they look differently at me when I walk by now. Because now that I'm a somebody, I used to be a nobody, and now I'm a somebody. Even if that's the case, the only way, if they're joining and they're doing the rock podcast and promoting rock people, and that's the way they're gaining an audience, and that's the way they're gaining fame, good. Because they're promoting rock and building more platforms for rock people to be introduced on and to grow their audiences and for this whole thing to go and for your show to be big. Because you went on my show, this show you're watching right now, and you went on my show, and then they went on your show, and you went on their show. And here's your thing, girl. La da da da. Well, thing girls. No, the thing is, you get famous when they get famous. Rock becomes alive when you're successful. When any of us are successful. That's the beauty of it. I don't have to be the biggest guy. The Rock Show could stay at 700 listeners forever. But here's the thing. That's good. That's fine. I don't care. That's fine. That's fine. Because here's the thing. Other people who are on the show are going to make the platforms. And here's the real thing. One of them out of 700, and then we're all working together as a team, networking. Like if you get someone successful, medium to large success on your podcast, and then you introduce them to all the other people, and the other people are introducing you to other people, and it's quid pro quo, and all this sort of good stuff. Everyone's podcast grows. And you might go, well, what happens if people keep doing this? What if, it gets oversaturated? 700 people, really? I mean, what if it gets oversaturated? Look at comedians. I think there's probably 700 comedians who are full-time just off of podcast revenue, who have at least 700 viewers per, episode. Or let's say they have on average 1,400 viewers per episode, but they only do 3 days a week. It's still 150K. It's still in almost any, even in New York, even at the most expensive places in the United States, 150K a year is self-employed good money. And now we're not talking about you selling your merchandise or your t-shirt. That's on top of this. Just baseline. And here's the thing too, is you don't have to be a genius or have an amazing personality that no one's ever seen before. You just have to do it every day. Or film them twice a week and release one every day. People, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. It's free. It's free. You can become a billionaire, millionaire, 200,000-aire rock star, or rock journalist, or rock producer for free. Think about that. And then what about, well, all these people are going to try. What if you join, let's say you are watching this a year from now, and you join the Discord and you go, oh my God, the 700 is the super close knit group of the first 700 who got in, and like they're really like going at stuff together and working together and aggressively growing the 700, but I'm not in the 700. And there's 7,000 other people outside the 700 who are on the Discord. And you're like, oh my God, the 7,000 people, how am I supposed to make it? You just keep going. You keep going and you keep working with people because there's already 8 or 9 billion people on the planet. As AI gets introduced, we're going to be able to translate in real time. Videos are just going to be automatically translated to different languages. You're going to go from a 1/3 of a billion people being able to like your stuff to, even if there's a big culture shock, you're going to be able to go to like 9 billion people from 1/3. You're going to be able to have a 27 times the size audience. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think with technological advancements, I don't think it's crazy to think within the next 10 to 20 years, the life expectancy is going to go into the hundreds and hundreds. Think about it. The instant they have a brain chip 30 years from now, they can put in your brain, it updates what's happening in your brain, and sends it to a place. $5 a month, $2 a month. And if you get hit by a bus, what happens? Oh, your brain, they take your DNA, they're able to recreate whatever your body is from the DNA, and they put a chip in the brain with your up-to-date memories and everything. And let's say your soul does exist. Your soul was going to go away, and they just go boop, and they funnel your soul. It goes back to the new body. And actually, the body is the same body in the sense that every night when you go to bed, the gene technology is so good, they reset you to whatever age you woke up that morning and your cells and everything. People don't even have to work out. You just select the genes that grow whatever amount of muscle you want in your frame and whatever amount of cardiovascular performance you want. And every night it resets. And so, in a sense, you are reborn every single night, even though you're just dialing the clock back on what genes you have, you're picking them every night. So, if that's the case, and even if that's not the case where we get functionally immortality, even if that's not the case, I still think the life expectancy is going to go up. People are going to live longer. And I think people are going to have more kids as there's more abundance on the planet Earth and there's better technology that makes things cheaper. Now, you might say, well, in countries like the US and yada, 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 all of this stuff. And I can get into it. But I think over time, things get cheaper, things get better, and I wouldn't be surprised if the global population in 40 years from now is higher than it is today, and it's continuing to go up. All I'm saying is, in the long term, it makes sense to start podcasting. It makes sense to join the Discord. It makes sense to do all that. In the short term, it makes a ton of sense. You get in now, so when this podcast blows up in a month, or 2 or 3, and I'm doing it full time, because the instant I'm doing this full time, that's game over. For real game over. That's like, don't be surprised if we're on Joe Rogan within a couple months of that happening. Like, we hit the 700 exist, I get the sponsors, right? We're talking energy drinks, we're talking athletic apparel, we're talking mental health services, we're talking guitar strings, we're talking about potentially we get Epiphone, potentially we get Harley Benton, one of these things to sponsor, right? I mean, bro, shiz is gonna go off the chain. I mean, I'll tell you, I'll move to Austin and I'll get all of the comedians, starting with the smallest podcast and the ones who are the most into it, and I'm gonna keep getting them day after day after day after day, and after a month, all it takes is one of them to get to one of the many comedians who are super big rock fans, and then you get them on the podcast. Let's say you get Ari Shafir. Let's say you get Joe List. Let's say you get Joe List literally named his last special or two. It was after Elvis Costello. It's an Elvis Costello reference. Ari Shafir literally had his old podcast. He had a wall of different records and would swap them out. Do you think he'd be interested in seeing rock come back? Oh, and how many millions of people follow those people? How many hundreds of thousands of listeners? And here's the thing. It's once you do the podcast with one of those people, let's say I do a podcast with Joe List, and it gets 30,000 views, 50,000 views. Not 3 million, but 30,000. And he likes the mission. That's the most important thing. He likes the mission. And then he goes and tells other people, there's people doing this and they're bringing back rock. And it's going to be crazy. You guys should definitely hop on this podcast, because the more people who do, the bigger it gets, the quicker it gets. And before we know it, in a year, we've got hundreds of new bands playing stadiums around the world. We're in a whole new age of music. A whole new age of music. So it just takes Joey. Let's say Joe List. He goes, he talks to a couple people. He's an alpha. He's an alpha like me. So he gets it, okay? So Joey List, the alpha of the pack, of course, gets these people on. And even if those don't go super viral, not only are they telling influential people, the 30,000 people, the different people who are seeing it. And then here's the thing. Let's say I go to another comedian. Let's say I go to, like, Mark Norman, right? Who's another comedian. Maybe he likes rock. I don't know, right? And you send him a video of, you DM or you at him in the comments on a video, or you do, you do a clip of the podcast with Joe List, and you do it where it's a real story, but also a reel or whatever, and it's posting on both of our accounts, and we at other comedians and challenge them to come on the show. And then, oh, they're seeing it, and it's a message, it's a DM from Joe List, cross DM'd with me. Oh, look at that. So first off, if we get anyone of any, here's the thing. We get any people of any medium size who have a platform and connections in an already established podcast network. We just need to get one person who agrees with the mission. And then they were able to work with them, and they just help us get someone to go on our podcast. We go on their podcast. People are always looking for people to go on their podcast and podcasts to go on. Cool. Because then you're able to chain all the way up to the food chain. You're able to do that. I'm not saying I would do that and get to Joe Rogan. I'm not even saying Joe Rogan want to have me on. But that means we can reach everyone with the message. Joe Rogan doesn't need to think I'm a good person, intelligent, worthwhile to talk to. He doesn't need to think any of that. And I'm using Joe as an example because he's a very easy example to use. But he hears about Bring Back Rock. He hears about New Rock Dynasty. He hears about what's going on. He hears the music. He hears about some of the bands. Whether it's my band, whether it's all of your band, whether it's your band. He hears about them. And if he likes your band, maybe he tells some friends. Maybe he tells more people. Maybe eventually he brings on some of these bands. And then their band, your podcast, since you went on Joe Rogan, blows up to the moon. Or it's your friend, or it's just another guy who you met on the new Rock Dynasty Discord, and you were talking with them about, yeah, let's do these videos together, and we're doing this stuff, and then out of nowhere, Joe Rogan hits them up and goes, hey, I want you on. They go on, and now all the videos you're doing together are going viral because that person's going viral, and now you're going viral. And oh, and you were doing videos with this guy, and this guy was doing videos with him too, and you were going, and now we're all going viral. We're all going viral, and it doesn't mean that Joe Rogan's going to do that, but if we're at that level, we're able to reach everyone. I'm able to get a cross message with all these different people. Whether it's Rick Beato, whether it's not Paul Rubin, Rick Rubin, not Paul Rubin's Pee Wee Herman. No, but Rick Rubin. Whether it's whoever, whether it's the Gingivitis King himself, I don't know. I will pick a person. Pick a person who's influential. Whether it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, whether it's whether it's the ghost of Amy Winehouse. But people, look at the time. Look at the time. It's almost gonna be time. I'm gonna miss you guys. You know, I'm in San Diego for the next couple months. Or at least right now. I've been in San Diego. And it's the weather here. I was in Arizona for a while. It's dry. But here in San Diego, it's interesting because you go to bed, you take a shower, 9 p.m. You watch some TV. Okay, you unwind, 10:30. Keep that in mind. You wake up, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. You're oily. Your skin's oily. Your hair's oily. It's like you go to bed after a shower and you need to take a shower the instant you wake up. And if you do, guess what happens? You need a shower again that night. So it's a 2-shower-a-day place, people. I'm just saying. Arizona's a 1-shower-a-day. It's a 1-shower-a-day. And if you're really getting funky with it, you can skip a shower. I don't advise you to skip a shower, but have I done it? Of course. Okay, don't kill me. I've done it. I've skipped a shower. And it was hard, but I thought it was the right thing to do at the time, and I didn't know, but it was, no, it's actually really good for opening up your nostrils. It's good for things like that. But here's the thing: is like if I do a shower, I'm a little bit too calm. Like if I do a shower, like right off the rippy dip, it's like we're slouching, snoring till 4 in the morning. Stanley, Morgan Friedman impression. Guys, I'm not stalling. I'm not Josephing until 48 minutes to prove that I can do 12 minutes of... Here's the thing, too. If you're doing 12 minutes of ads, I started watching different podcasts and looking for this. Here we go. Don't look at that. Don't look at the ad on the label. Dude, this is such a better angle. Boop, 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 boop. Eek, eek. Man, would you like to scan it? Beep. Beep. You probably people don't even know. What was I talking about? I don't even... Oh. 12 minutes of advertisement. So you do 48 minutes or so of quality broadcast, right? And you do about 12 minutes of advertisement, right? And so what's funny there is when you're doing these 12 minutes of advertisement, it's like, how many sponsors is that? How many ad reads is that? Is the average 1 minute? Is it 30 seconds? Is it 5? And so I started checking out. There's a comedian, Dan Soder. Oh, this is a great example. Dan Soder, favorite band is Queens of the Stone Age. Queens of the Stone Age. That's like my favorite band. And he went to school in Tucson, Arizona. I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona. And I lived there for a while, like the whole last year, in like the first 13 years of me being a human being. 14 out of 21 years. So 2/3 of my life has been in Arizona. And I like Queens of Stone Age. All I'm saying is, I was watching his own podcast, Soder, also an example of someone who used to do literal Sirius XM radio every day, and now he does his own podcast. Anyways, he'd be a great get. Boop. I dove thee, lovely Lady Liberty. Doom, 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 goo, 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 boom, boom. And boom, boom. I think I got it. There you go. POV, you're the zombie getting stabbed through the heart. Boom. I think I got it. Come on. Now, ladies, calm yourselves. I know that was quite the scene back there, but I just kill zombies like this every day. It's no problem for me. No, so 12 minutes. Okay, so if you're doing 12 minutes ads, I was watching Soder and I was like, how long are these ad breaks going? It was him with Michelle Wolf, who is, I'm assuming she's Jewish like me because she sounds very Jewish. Anyways, as a Jew, I run everything. Anyways, that's a joke. I don't run anything except for New Rock Dynasty and the Rock Show with Connor Farrell and Black Licorice and, well, I'll literally be like pulling the strings of a network of people in rock, even though I'm not really pulling the strings, but I will be influencing, and I'll be influencing the fans, and I'll be controlling this media, not the other medias, but I'll be running this one. So, let's get back to what we're saying. So, Soder, I was like, how long are these podcasts, these ad breaks? And half of them were like 2 minutes, the other maybe a minute and a half. So 12 minutes, anywhere from 6 to 8 advertisers. Let's say we get an energy drink. Now, it could be someone like Celsius, if they want to get into the rock market on the new generation of people, right? Because the new up-and-coming people are the ones watching my podcast. And so they could capture the new generation to supplant someone like Monster, or Monster could double down and sponsor the rock show, and they could outbid Celsius. Or they could just sponsor the rock show. I'm not saying there's being bid anymore. Unless there is. Anyways, but or someone like Monster could come in and say, we want to really make sure we still have rock, even though like Liquid Death does water, good, but like, you're not really choosing between 200 milligrams, 300 milligrams of caffeine and water. You're like, no, I'm either having a white Monster or I'm having the green one. And with Celsius, it's the same thing. Oh, wow, that hurt. But Monster, yeah, so like, you could take an energy drink. They could sponsor. You could look at some clothing brands like Sheath Underwear. They sponsored Gas Digital Network, which was home to the podcast, still is home to the podcast Legion of Skanks. And that was one of the first places they sponsored. So I know I'm not going to offend them. But also, that podcast is very like, almost like the overlap, like kind of like more rock and roll, metal, punk type of audience. Like that's, you don't expect Legion of Skank fans. You expect them to like Korn and Slipknot and Nickelback. You don't expect them to be listening to Taylor Swift and Drake. Anyways, all that is to say, 6 to 8 advertisers. It's like if that's all you need, it's like holy caboodle. It's like you can get cooking with mooking. Let's say Liquid Death. Let's say an energy drink. Let's say sheath underwear. Let's say could be a guitar string company, either like Ernie Ball because they want to solidify their capture of the market, or it wants to be another one, or it could be a small one, like a smaller brand who wants to get big. You could have a guitar company, so that could be like Gibson, Fender, Schecter, Harley Benton. Like it could be anything really. It could be I don't know. No, there's lots of stuff though. Mental health services, right? I'm thinking of things that are more like in the niche, but it could be. There's lots of like talk therapy companies. Um, right there, there's 6 right there. Boom, boom, boom. Ooh, you could do sparkling water. That's Liquid Death. I like me a sparkling water. Dude, if Liquid Death sponsored me, that'd be so good. You know why? I'd have money to buy their sparkling water. Okay. Come on, folks. That's about enough. But I do like talking to you. I do like talking to you. You are fun. You are fun. No, seriously. No, stop it. You are fun. No, stop it. No, I know you are, but no, stop. You're being silly. No, okay, I'll talk to you later, okay? Goodbye.